My sister tried to steal my boyfriend. And years later, she sent me a baby photo. I always thought my little sister was just spoiled. I grew up in a house where appearances mattered more than people. I was the oldest daughter, quiet, responsible, the one who did her homework without being asked. My little sister, Sophie, was the opposite. Loud. Demanding. Manipulative. But beautiful, ridiculously so. Think big eyes, pouty lips, naturally golden curls. From the moment she could talk, she knew how to get what she wanted. And our parents? Oh, they ate it up like dessert. If I asked for piano lessons, they said we couldn't afford it. When Sophie asked, she had a private tutor within a week. When she crashed my mom's car at 16, she got a cute little replacement a month later. I wasn't even allowed to borrow it for prom. I resented her. Quietly. Carefully. Because I knew if I dared to speak up, I'd be labeled jealous or dramatic. When I met Noah, I was 22. He was the first person who saw me. Like, really saw me. Not as Sophie's sister, not as the smart one or the background character. Just me. He was sweet. A little shy. But solid. Kind. We moved in together after a year. My parents were indifferent. Sophie rolled her eyes and said, "He's cute but boring." Noah just laughed it off. I didn't. But things were good for a while. Until my 26th birthday. Noah had always been great with surprises, but that year, he was off. Distant. Forgetful. He forgot to book dinner. Gave me a gift card to a bookstore instead of picking something personal. I was hurt. And confused. And then it kept happening. He started coming home late from work. Smelled like someone else's perfume once. Got protective of his phone. Kept turning it face down. He never did that before. I asked him if something was going on. He said no. Looked me in the eyes. "I'm just tired, babe." But something in my gut twisted. Then came the day I saw a message on his lock screen from an unknown number. "When are you telling her?" My heart dropped. He swore it was work-related. I didn't believe him. But I didn't push. I wasn't ready to know. And he never confessed. The weird behavior faded gradually, and we just moved on. Sort of. I told myself it was a rough patch. That maybe I'd imagined it all. But the doubt never really left. Fast forward 5 years. We're married. Living in a cozy little house. We're stable, happy, on the surface. But something still nags at me every time Noah kisses my forehead or turns his phone away. Until last summer. Sophie got engaged. My parents threw a massive engagement party, of course. She had a diamond the size of my pupil and a fiancé who talked like a motivational speaker. I was genuinely happy for her. Or at least, I tried to be. Until I walked past Sophie's old bedroom that night and heard her talking to one of her bridesmaids. The door was cracked open just enough. What I heard made my blood freeze. She was laughing. Oh my God, I still can't believe I almost stole my sister's boyfriend. I mean, Noah? He was so into me. I could have had him if I wanted to. But I got bored. The girl gasped. Wait, seriously? Yeah, Sophie giggled. He totally thought I'd run away with him. It was hilarious. I nearly blacked out. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning, I confronted Noah. Calmly, quietly, terrifyingly still. He sat down. And told me everything. It happened during that strange year. When I thought he was cheating. I was right, but not in the way I expected. Sophie had started texting him. Flirting. Asking him to help her with emotional problems. She came over while I was at work. Sat too close. Touched his hand too long. Once, she cried in front of him and kissed him. He pulled away. Told her to stop. But she kept pushing. He never told me because he didn't want to cause drama. She told him she'd ruin his life if he confessed. She said I'd never believe him. That I'd take her side, because I always had. And you know what? Back then, maybe she was right. He was scared. Confused. And too ashamed to tell me. So he pulled away. distanced himself. Not because he stopped loving me, because he thought he'd already ruined everything. And that message on his phone? It was from Sophie. Threatening to tell me some twisted version of events. "When are you telling her?" wasn't a confession. It was blackmail. I broke. Not with anger. With grief. Grief for the years I spent doubting someone who loved me. Grief for all the times I'd been trained to believe Sophie over anyone. Grief for the version of me that once admired my sister, even just a little. I went no contact with her that night. My parents were furious. Said I was being dramatic and ungrateful. That Sophie was just playing. Noah broke down crying. Told me he'd hated himself every day since. That he thought I'd leave him if I ever found out. But I didn't. Because he resisted her. Because he told me the truth even when it hurt. Because he chose me, over her, over peace, over fear. We started therapy. Real therapy. For both of us. It's not a perfect ending. I still have moments where my skin crawls remembering Sophie's voice that night. But now, at least, I know what happened. And I know my parents raised a monster. They still pretend like nothing happened. Still try to guilt me into making peace. But I won't. Not this time. Because the moment I heard that laugh behind the bedroom door, I realized something. They didn't just mess up when they spoiled Sophie. They messed up when they made me feel like being quiet, reasonable, and selfless meant I didn't deserve to be protected. And I refused to carry their mistake any longer. Noah broke down crying. Told me he'd hated himself every day since. That he thought I'd leave him if I ever found out. But I didn't. Because he resisted her. Because he told me the truth even when it hurt. Because he chose me, over her, over peace, over fear. We started therapy. Real therapy. For both of us. It's not a perfect ending. I still have moments where my skin crawls remembering Sophie's voice that night. But now, at least, I know what happened. And I know my parents raised a monster. They still pretend like nothing happened. Still try to guilt me into making peace. But I won't. Not this time. Because the moment I heard that laugh behind the bedroom door, I realized something. They didn't just mess up when they spoiled Sophie. They messed up when they made me feel like being quiet, reasonable, and selfless meant I didn't deserve to be protected. And then, 3 weeks later, Sophie sent me a photo of her and Noah together, smiling. The message came in the middle of the night. No caption. No warning. Just a photo. Sophie, smiling wide, her hand on Noah's chest. His face turned slightly, not quite looking at the camera. Like he didn't know it was being taken. Or didn't care. It hit me like a car. Every bone in my body froze. I stared at it for a full minute before I could breathe again. Then my heart started racing. I felt hot. Cold. Hollow. I texted her back. "What is this?" No response. I shook Noah awake. His eyes flew open the moment he saw my face. I showed him the photo. He stared at it. Then he whispered, "Where the hell did she get that?" He swore he hadn't seen her. Not since the engagement party. Not ever. He hadn't talked to her. He hadn't responded to her emails. He even showed me his phone, his call log, everything. Nothing. But the photo was real. And recent. I recognized the shirt he wore, it was from last week. I'd just done the laundry. He was pale. Shaking. Confused. And terrified. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But the image was right there. Sophie, smug as ever. Her hand exactly where mine used to be. So I asked him the one thing I never thought I would. "Did you cheat on me?" And for the first time since I'd met him, he didn't answer immediately. He looked away. And said, "Not like you think." He told me everything. Again. The day that photo was taken, he'd run into her. At a cafe across town. She came up to him. Sat down uninvited. He tried to leave, but she blocked him. Said she had something to say. He didn't want a scene, so he stayed for 5 minutes. She apologized. Said she was in therapy. Said she regretted everything. He didn't believe her. He got up to leave, and she pulled him into a hug. For closure, she whispered. That's when the picture was taken. He never saw a camera. Never even thought she was recording. He said he left immediately and didn't tell me because he thought I'd overreact. You were finally starting to trust me again, he said. I didn't want to ruin that. I believed him. Sort of. But something had changed. The image was stuck in my head. Her hand. His face. The smirk. And the silence that followed. I blocked Sophie. Again. This time I told my parents. Showed them the photo. Told them everything. They were useless. My mother's first reaction? Well, maybe you shouldn't have let him around her in the first place. As if it was my fault. That night, I wrote Sophie an email. Not to beg. Not to threaten. To document. I told her to stay away from me, my husband, and my life. That I had screenshots, timestamps, and enough dirt from the past to bury her socialite image. That if she pushed again, I would burn every bridge and enjoy watching her fall. She never replied. But she didn't need to. Because 3 weeks later, she did something worse. She showed up to our house. With her fiancé. And she was crying. Fake crying. Her fiancé, Ryan, looked confused and a little pissed off. Apparently, she'd told him that Noah had been harassing her. That he was still obsessed with her. That I was in denial and emotionally unstable. She dragged Ryan to our door to prove it. But Noah didn't open the door. I did. And I was ready. I stepped out with my phone already recording. Calm, cold, composed. Hello, Sophie, I said. Back to play the victim? She blinked. That smile cracked for a second. Ryan narrowed his eyes. Wait, what's going on? So I told him. Everything. From the flirtations to the blackmail. From the fake hug to the photo. From the first twisted message to the years she spent gaslighting our family. Sophie tried to interrupt. But I had screenshots. Emails. Audio from that engagement party. She never knew I'd recorded it. Ryan's face changed. First shock. Then, disgust. He turned to her. You told me she was crazy. Sophie grabbed his arm. She is. She's lying. Don't believe her, she's always hated me. But Ryan shook her off. And left. Right there on our lawn. Sophie screamed. And I just watched. Watched her storm off into the street, mascara running, pride shattered. And I felt nothing. Not triumph. Not revenge. Just relief. It's been a year since that day. Sophie moved to another city. Our parents barely speak to me now. Apparently, I humiliated the family. Noah and I are still together. Stronger, somehow. There's still work to do. Still healing to finish. But I don't look at his phone anymore. And he doesn't turn it over anymore. Because truth, even painful truth, is better than a lie with a smile. But last week, I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a photo. Another one. Sophie. And a baby. With a single line written in red ink. He looks just like Noah, doesn't he?